It's the Elsa Kurt Show with Clay Novak. Serving up trending news and conservative views. Brought to you by the Elsa Kurt Collection. And Refuge Medical. And now, it's time for the show.
Well, hey, another week, another bunch of stories. I thought for sure we would run out of things to talk about by now.
No,
Kidding.
Yeah. President Trump's moving way too fast. Him, Elon, and everything else. The train is a-rolling, and it's not slowing down.
Oof. Yeah, you aren't kidding, man. We've got lots of stuff on tap for you. We'll see if we can get through them all this time, right? Last week we had to leave out a couple few, but
well,
that's okay.
Again, there's just the world is busy. It's not just the U.S. The world is busy. So we'll see what happens, and we'll get started right after this. Hey folks, Clay Novak here, author of the novel Keep Moving, Keep Shooting. So what I've got here is the Boo Boo 2.0 basic first aid kit. This is the one that you throw in your glove box, throw in the trunk of your car, keep in the house. It's got your Band-Aids, antiseptic wipes, those kinds of things for scrapes and cuts, and some more significant, there is a tourniquet in here. But Boo Boo 2.0, this is the kit that you need all the time. Again, refugemedical.com. You can find it there. Definitely a useful kit. Use the discount code KMKS at checkout. Get yourself 10% off. Refuge Medical, not only buy their equipment, but get their training. Refuge Medical offers training as well. Keep moving, keep shooting.
Spring is knocking. Ready to refresh your vibe? The Elsa Kurt collection has everything from page-turning reads to eye-catching fashion, guaranteed to add a little sunshine to your season. Calling all statement makers, Elsa's pieces are designed to turn heads and bring confidence to your closet. But that's not all. Love a good book? Elsa's got your next favorite read waiting just for you. Don't miss Elsa's Amazon affiliate store, filled with hand-picked beauty treasures, home must-haves, and daily essentials. It's like a personal shopping spree made easy. Make this spring your season. Shop the Elsa Kurt collection today and let the fun begin.
Well then, my goodness. So one of my favorite things to keep watching on a daily basis for daily updates is DOGE. It keeps on doging, making liberal heads explode.
Yeah, it's and the hate and vitriol that's coming out of this by people who just they don't like who's doing it. You know, they don't care that it's benefiting the country. They don't care that it's long overdue. They don't care. They just hate that it's being done by President Trump and by Elon Musk.
That's literally all it is.
Yeah, they keep digging. They keep finding stuff, though. I mean, let's talk Social Security.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, you know, you're talking people 300 years old. Some of the age ranges are crazy.
It's insane. I've got a little graphic while we're talking. Let me take
there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, look at this. This is insane. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what they're looking at here, these are people. Let's start right here, basically. I mean, we'll go crazy and say there's somebody out there as 119. I don't really know. But people 120 plus are still on these roles. Now, I don't think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it's necessarily confirmed that these people are still receiving checks, right? I mean, they're looking into this to find out if that's the case, but they're still in the records.
Yeah, they're still in the records. And so, you know, people say, oh, well, there's no way they're receiving checks. There's no way. Listen, people, if you are receiving checks for someone, you know, who is older and you know, you live like you're a child or maybe even a, you know, disabled person who's receiving Social Security for, you know, on behalf of someone, whatever it is, if they're still on the rolls, there is still the eligibility for a check to be cut.
Right.
So is there, you know, millions of dollars being spent and checks being sent out to these people? Probably not. Are some of them probably still getting checks sent? Yeah. And are people cashing them? Yes. By the way, folks, that's a felony. That is a federal law that you are breaking, and it's a felony. So if you're receiving a Social Security check for somebody who is deceased and you're cashing it, that's a felony. You're a felon.
That's a pretty big racket, too. I mean, I hear about that. I'm not saying I hear about it all the time, but I have heard of that plenty of times, people getting caught up in that and, you know, spending some prison time for it. I mean, it's no joke. Yeah,
for sure. But it you know, all it does is it opens things up to say, we need to look at what's going on at Social Security.
Right. And, you know, obviously more suspicion added to the mix when you have the, what's her name? Michelle King, who spent 30 years at the Social Security offices there and resigned from her position as the acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration because she didn't want to turn over the data. She didn't want to open up the data for them to view. So you mean to tell me that that's not suspicious, that doesn't say, I've done something wrong here. She can paint it. She's trying to paint it as she resigned in protest, essentially.
On principle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You resigned because you don't want to take the heat for your 30 years of, actions or leadership, failed leadership to get this under control. It's a bad look all around.
Yeah. That table you showed, is the what makes that sketchy is the fact that all of those people are designated as active, right? So what that tells me is somewhere along the way, as people were transitioned from the old paper system to a new digital system, somebody didn't want to go through and vet every one of these accounts. They didn't want to do the due diligence. They didn't want to do the manual labor and say, is this person alive? Are they not? And what they did was they hit the default active and they left it, and nobody else ever went back and cleaned it up.
Right.
And the fact that it's that lackadaisical is, again, that's reason enough to go in and start digging.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're looking at, or what we're all looking at, is, on the least of all, laziness, negligence, disregard. And at the other end of that spectrum, flat out criminal behavior. If there are checks going out to 179-year-olds, we have a problem. Big problem. So I would say this, yet another very warranted audit for sure. Yeah, it's like 12 million people over the age of 120. This note says we're receiving Social Security benefits. So we don't know that at this point. It's still being, and I'm guilty of automatically making that assumption too, that those checks were going out because they were still on the roster. And I know that's the assumption made by a lot of people, and that's not really accurate. It could be, but we don't know yet. So we'll find out.
But again, it gives reason for DOGE to do what they're doing, right?
Yes.
This is, and it's not just Social Security. So that's part of it. And then, they found, so whenever Department of Treasury, sends out a payment, it's like, when you fill out your check and you fill it out to, right? I know a lot of young people, they're
like, what are you talking about?
I tap my phone and but you sign it out as to. Well, in every disbursement that the Department of Treasury Department does, there is a to that has to be filled out. It is supposed to be filled out. I think the number was either, 4.7 or 7.4. I think it's 4.7 trillion dollars in payments.
Yes, 4.7. You're right.
4.7 out of Treasury, where that to line was never filled out.
Right.
So we have $4.7 trillion.
Untraceable.
It is untraceable. There's no evidence of where it went to. I'm sure if they dig, they can probably pull bank numbers, routing numbers, and all of those things, assuming that they didn't just do a disbursement check.
Right.
Right. Or a cash disbursement. Oh, by the way, those of us that were in the global war on terror, especially in the early days, and saw literally pallets of cash being moved around, the Middle East. Money, especially cash gets lost and consumed very, very quickly with a lot of accountability. Sure. So the fact that to line from the Treasury Department was not filled out is also suspect. And it begs the question, where is the money going?
Yeah. Where is it going? And we all have some pretty good guesses, but we need to have it confirmed. We need proof, and we need to see the proverbial heads roll for it. And, that is, again, and I've said this before in similar circumstance or similar conversation, that's the biggest thing for me. I want to see the heads roll. They have to. There's no, the left will call it targeting and all of these crazy things. And their reverse thing of calling this weaponization, right? That's what they want to call this now. Yeah. This is called accountability. This is called, transparency, accountability. And, they're putting the receipts out there. I think Trump just spent like just a 4-minute monologue listing every single thing that they had at that point, or at this point, of, questionable money, where it was going, the questionable things that it was going to. So come on. And you got to question the people who are mad about this, that don't want it to happen.
And so, again, like we said at the beginning, there are people who are angry about who is doing this, right? Whether it's DOGE going in, recommendation, or even shutter, recommendation to fire people, reduce the workforce, shutter entire organizations, track down spent money, whatever. You've got people who are mad about this when in reality, President Clinton did something similar, right? 377,000 federal workers were transitioned from federal workers to contractors. And everybody says, oh, well, people didn't lose their jobs. You know what happens? They lost their federal benefits, right? Which were probably picked up by the contractor, but then the contractor upcharges the government. Okay. Right. Oh, by the way, that's another way to launder some money. Yeah. So while he fired 400,000, they transitioned to contractors. So there was a workforce reduction there, and then you've got all of this stuff going on with people defending, USAID and all the hires there. Listen, if you were a government worker and you were overseas and you just assumed that you were going to have a job for the rest of your life, and now you're mad because you got fired, that's on you. You made a horrible life assumption that you were just going to be employed forever. Right. There's no such thing.
Yeah. And they like to scream about, scream and cry and rant and rave that, all these poor federal workers, they were just fired just like that. No, they were given 8 months severance pay, 8 months of their bills being paid, carrying a paycheck, and being able to afford all of their life things and look for a job and do something else. 8 months, Yeah.
So, and the overseas workers are going to get brought home. They're going to live in the same conditions they've been living in, and they're going to get brought home within 30 days. And, nobody told them if they're complaining because, oh, well, I sold my house and I sold my car and I don't have this and nobody told you to sell that stuff.
Right.
If you chose to do that to save yourself some money, that's on you. Okay. Yeah. But, it's just like anything else. If you get fired from a job, that job is not responsible for making sure that you have a place to live or a car to drive or anything else. Those are choices that you made. But these, there's folks that believe that, for some reason, if they work for USAID or a federal agency, that they were guaranteed a job forever, which is unbelievably false.
Yeah. So, there's to make that assumption, to have that expectation that you are set for life because you're a federal worker. I mean, there's tapes and not tapes. Wow, I just dated myself there. There's recordings of, there was a USAID worker, I think she was, or somebody in that lane. Did you see that video? And she was talking about all of the things that, that they said and that they knew to be the case. And that was like the general message. Oh, once you're in, you're all set. You're good. You're golden. Don't worry about a thing. And I don't really have sympathy. I'm trying to find some. I mean, I honestly am. I'm trying to find some. I acknowledge the fact that now your life is, completely different than what you thought it was going to be, but you had no right to think that. And it was on all of our dimes, so you're robbing us blind and now you're mad and want sympathy that you're getting cut. I don't have it. I just don't.
No, again, it's like the discussion we had last week about the DOE, right? Department of Education. If your organization was that terrible, you go business and then you're out of a job. And, sorry, but if you were part of that, the only person you have to blame is you. If you didn't sock away some money and you weren't, saving and you weren't doing all, that's not anybody's fault but your own, and so there's a lot of complaining going on out there. Again, I don't have a lot of sympathy. You can go back to the Army downsizing post-Gulf War in the early 90s where, thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the Army were not retained. A bunch of officers were, given a check and said, go away. It's this has happened before. It's just the fact that it's being done now in the day of social media and under this administration. But I've been saying it, those people that have been voting for big gov since, President Clinton in 1992, if you've been supporting that whole thing, enlarge the government, make it bigger, you've supported the bloat, you're responsible for this. This is right sizing, it's downsizing. And all these people who have lost their jobs, I hate it for them. But, if you're crying about it, but you voted for it, I got nothing for you.
Right. Well, this is all part of, just this whole irony of everything. These same people that are screaming about, crying about all of the things we just talked about and more are also are also claiming that this federal government is trying to, take over everything. They're trying to be authoritarians, and they're, trying to rule the world. And everything they're doing is to give power back to the states and have accountability and transparency in government, all of the things that we should be expecting from our government, our federal government. It just blows my mind every single day to read these comments from people or see their idiotic posts that just reek of hypocrisy and, frankly, stupidity. It blows my mind every day, and it shouldn't.
Yeah. They are convinced that this is all a conspiracy, that this is, it's all of those things. These are the new conspiracy theorists, the ones who all laughed at the bulk of us who, said, listen, COVID's from a lab. No, it's not.
No,
it's wet
not.
Market. It's bats. Those are the same people who are saying, oh, Trump and Elon, they're going to take over the country. They're going to take over the world. Let me tell you something. The richest man in the world doesn't care about your social security number.
Yeah.
He really doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's not.
That's probably the most laughable part. Yeah. Elon Musk is going to take our money. No, he doesn't need your money. Yep. He's got more money in his pocket than you have in your whole life savings, which of course really angers them too, because they think capitalism is so bad.
Did you watch the interview on Hannity last night?
I caught clips of it. Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched almost all of it. It was very, I think there was no surprises in there, except for the fact when both Hannity and Elon Musk were talking about how their support of President Trump has changed their life in a negative way as far as their social circles, their social interactions, and that kind of thing. Hannity's always been a Trump supporter. So for him, it's kind of like a renewal of something that happened 8 years ago. But Elon Musk, not that long ago, was a Democrat. They loved him. Mr. Green vehicle guy. Like they were all about, SpaceX and all this until he started supporting President Trump. He actually talked about, if you didn't see it, he RSVP'd for an event sponsored by, a Democratic organization before he endorsed President Trump, and then attended after he endorsed President Trump. So he was invited and RSVP'd before and then attended after. And he's like, it was horrible, just that one thing. And it wasn't even like grown-ups acting like grown-ups, like, hey man, that was I don't know why you're over there, but it was the opposite. I mean, it was less, not even close to cordial. It was, very, he felt very defensive. He felt, like he was a lone man standing there. I mean, it was pretty bad. So,
I'm sure it had to be awful. And, many of us, myself included, have experienced it, when they know where your support lies. It's not, like you said, it's not just hey, I really disagree with you, but, we're still cool. I still love you, or I still like you. It's, you are a monster. You're a terrible person. I cannot even be in your presence. I'm, unfriending you, all of the things. And, these are all, for the most part, people who will never apologize either, even when facts are right in their face. But that's, whatever. But for someone like him, who was so publicly, admired and liked and all of those things, to be turned on that viciously had to be pretty shocking, and so publicly. It's one thing. It's never nice. Obviously, it never feels good when people that you know and love and believe know you, your heart, and love you, and all of those things, when they turn on you. But it's such a smaller scale when you compared to when you have the entire world, or half of it, just being vile, like vicious and vile. And I mean, I see it almost on a daily basis. Somebody is literally calling him the Antichrist, and they believe this. Yeah. They are absolutely confident that Elon Musk is the Antichrist. Yeah. Listen, none of us actually know who it is. So, and we won't until we do, but
yeah, it's, he's
crazy.
He's called a racist every day. And all, so amazingly enough, you still have the people, Netanyahu just deemed that President Trump was the greatest ally that Israel's ever had in the White House. People still call him an anti-Semite. You know what I mean? And then, by the way, at the flip side, he also gets the, you're a Jew lover, right? I mean, he's damn right.
No matter what you do, there's no appeasing that group. There's nothing you can possibly say or do, nothing that Trump could do. Again, we see the memes all the time. If Trump cured cancer and ended, poverty and did all of this, they would still say, yeah, but he this, It is what it is. I mean, it's truly mental illness as far as I'm concerned. It is 100% Trump derangement syndrome. Now we have Elon derangement syndrome, and that is what it is. They are so poisoned by, in my opinion, by primarily the media. The mainstream media is pure toxic poison. I went off on this, I think, like last week, and on Facebook kind of went on a little rant, a little foot stomping rant, and because it infuriates me, because these people are, man, they believe what they're saying and they believe what they're hearing, which is even worse.
And it's the hypocrisy, the lack of self-awareness. I mean, I saw somebody yesterday ranting and raving about how, the Republicans claim to be, the conservatives claim to be the party of family and this and that. And now we find out that Elon Musk has got his 14th child with his 13th woman. And, that's not very wholesome and family-like. And I'm like, really? Like with what just left the White House?
Right.
Like, we didn't bring Elon in for his morals and ethics. Sorry, folks. He's there because he's friggin' smart and he's really, really good at finding stuff, and he's great with computers and all that. We don't care truthfully, right?
No.
But you're going to point that out when you just had President Biden that left, and his son, who's a friggin' crackhead, who married his deceased son's, or had an affair or a relationship with his deceased son's wife. And, you've got the Bible or the diary entries with his daughter, and really, you're going to point out that level of, hatred towards Elon when you support just what just left the White House. Just shock.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so tired of it. This is very much the same as, did you see that the Congress of U.S. Cardinals from the Catholic Church are suing the president because he stopped payments for refugee, support. One, he's not obligated to do that.
Right.
Two, Congress of Cardinal to stop. Like, you're a charity organization.
Stop.
You're the largest landowner, free landowner in the free world. You have more money than you know what to do with. Please stop. Oh, by the way, the people that are saying, oh, yeah, I grew up Catholic, I support the Congress of Cardinals, they're the same Catholics that are pro-choice.
Right.
When that argument comes up. So
and that alone, that's the clincher for me. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, you've just invalidated yourself. Yeah. You've invalidated everything you could possibly say or contribute to the conversation. That alone invalidates you. So just shh.
And listen, folks, all things being equal, I grew up Catholic. I went to 8 years of Catholic school. I'm a failed Catholic. I have a great relationship with God, but that is an organization that I do not associate with anymore. The last time that I associated with that, it was printed on my dog tag. So that tells you something right there.
Yeah.
That's not where it's at. So it's not a complaint about the Catholic Church, although whatever they're going to do, I don't care. It's the people who are, hypocritical in the fact that they'll support the church as long as it opposes the president, and then they'll go against the church for their own viewpoints. So it's
so typical. They bend everything to fit what they want it to, and they'll and when this doesn't fit anymore, well, we're just going to bend over this way a little bit, and
exactly right.
I'm in the same boat. I have zero tolerance for any of it. As soon as I see it, I never, and I've said this before, but I reiterate it, I never respond to those types of comments in my comment sections, because they're always there. I could post a picture of a blade of grass, and somebody will say something hostile about Trump in the comment section, like it's unrelated. I don't even say anything. It just pretty blade of grass. I don't know. And it's like, well, Trump is blah, 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 blah. And it's like,
he's ruining the environment. Like, he stopped the new Green Deal. We won't have grass because of Trump. That's exactly what you'll get. You're 100%.
Exactly. It's so true. So, I don't entertain it at all. Personally, I say, go ahead, comment away, have a blast there, spouting your opinions, as long as you're not insulting or being threatening to any of the other commenters in there. Like, I don't really care what you say to or about me, but you're not going to harass people in my comments section, people who come over here because they're like-minded and they feel the same way and they just want to have a conversation in there. If you attack them, then the gloves are off. But
so the latest from DOGE is the potential, right? So this was brought up, and it was brought up for a potential refund, right? And what did Elon say? I'll talk to the president. So now there's a discussion of a check, right? A rebate.
Yes.
Check. But what you're starting to see, you can see the new banner at the bottom, states at the state level. This is happening in all places in Illinois, which is very blue because of Chicago. But Republicans in the state legislature are they're trying to get a bill to the floor and get it voted on to establish an in-state DOGE to do exactly
brilliant.
What Elon Musk is doing at the state level to get rid of the excess, get rid of the corruption, provide some oversight, those kinds of things.
And there's a lot of traction for that too. You've got Illinois, of course, you said, Michigan, Texas, North Carolina, Kentucky, all these state legislators are calling for a state DOGE. I mean, it feels like such like a, well, duh moment. Like, of course, that's what should be happening. And this was a great incentive. And whoever was first, I don't know who was first.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't either.
Illinois. I don't know who was first, but give that man or woman a medal for starting that rolling. I'm really curious now who the first one was. I don't even know how we could find that out.
Illinois was the first one I heard. Illinois was the first one I heard. I don't know about the rest, and I don't know who came first. But internally, here's my only thought on this that's challenging is that the president has Elon Musk and the 100 geniuses in t-shirts and flip-flops doing all the work.
Right.
States don't necessarily have the capacity and you know what I mean, for those that type of team. They certainly are not going to get it for free like the president is getting it out of Elon Musk and his team.
True.
So while it's a great idea at the state level, and I think that they should, or at least they should, propose it, find a way to get it done. I don't think it's going to be as fruitful at the state level as it is at the federal level. But if they can get it done, good on them. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's, you're right. It does open up some challenges and questions, of, well, who's going to be doing that, and what are your, there's a lot of questions, where are your ties? Are you, you ideally want somebody that's entirely independent. Good. How do you even find that, who does not have any party affiliation? I don't know. Maybe Elon will catch, well, I'm sure he's caught wind of all this, but maybe they can, lend out their, well, they're not going to lend them out. We know that, but maybe they can create like a task force that goes and does that. Right.
Sure.
And with all the money they'll be saving, they'll be able to pay them.
I mean, it's an exceptional idea. In my head, I was like, well, I wonder if they could do an exchange program where New York does Texas does New York, Florida does Illinois, you know what I mean? So you have a truly, reciprocal, inspector general type, system where states review each other's books and they keep each other honest. And I don't, there's probably not, there's about a 0% chance of that happening. But I think, in all honesty, that's probably one of the better ways to do things. I know when I was in the Army, we did have inspector generals, but it was all very, very often would you have one unit evaluate another unit, right? Sister units, and you were only there because you wanted to make sure, that unit was trained before they deployed, or you wanted to help them get better, or something to that effect. It was never, it was never about I gotcha, or it's never intended to be and I gotcha. It was always to make things better. So I think if we could get, that kind of spirit going back and forth, one, it would galvanize the nation a little bit. But two, I think it would clean up a lot of books at the state level. And oh, by the way, again, you do me, I do you, we pay for it, and it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. And, again, just as in the federal level, we all should be keeping an eye on the people who resist this idea the most. If you're fighting it, I got a problem with you. What are you trying to hide? And the rapidness at which these people are resigning is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like immediate, like you're coming in here. You're going to come here and clean house. Okay, I'm out. Bye. And I hope, and I can't imagine that protects them from criminal charges, right? Like, I don't know what they're thinking.
No. And to go back to the federal level, they are about to go. Everybody thinks that Trump's team is going to be protected and all this. They're getting ready to walk the Department of Defense.
Right.
Like they're going into DOD here in a minute. And they're next on the list. And, there's all these, I saw outcries the other day of, well, they fired 1,000 workers at the VA. And now that's cutting care from veterans. I haven't heard of it. Oh, by the way, I was at the VA today. Like there's no panic at the VA. There's
Right.
no one freaking out at the VA. There's no lack of care. There's no nothing. So
right. Well, that's exactly like them saying, blaming these plane crashes that have been like the rash of plane crashes, blaming it on the Trump administration and blaming it on the firings of all these FAA workers. Well, guess what? It was like 450 people out of thousands of workers, and none of them were essential workers. That none of them were air traffic controllers or non-essential people who operate in the most important areas. It was 450 people who were not critical workers. So shut up. Shut up and just get your facts. Like, get your facts. Like, stop trusting. That's always the thing where you ask them, you're like, well, where did you hear that? Oh, the news. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the best example ever is the Rachel Maddow Tesla Cybertruck contract, right? She came out and was blazing guns that President Trump gave Elon this contract, blah, 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 all these armored cyber trucks, and, Trump just gave it to Elon, and, and it's favoritism and nepotism, whatever. And the reality is that contract was signed on the 1st of October of last year when President Biden was still in office. Oh, by the way, for those that understand how budgeting works, the 1st of October is the first day of the fiscal year for the federal government. So all of that contract paperwork was all pre-done, waiting for the new budget to come in so they could sign it on the 1st. That was all last year, but she didn't do anything. She didn't do any back checking. She didn't do any research. So, but that's what you got out of the mainstream media.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. It's this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. The blaming of the plane crash in Canada, the fact that they were like, President Trump's been in office. If you look at what was it? One of the facts in January, one of the economic figures, I don't remember if it was unemployment, it was inflation, I think. Like, inflation in January went up. He was president for 11 days in January.
Exactly.
The last 11 days of the month. Like, get a grip, people.
Well, look at the whole egg thing, the egg prices thing. I thought Trump was going to bring down the price of eggs. That didn't happen. Hope you guys are happy. Biden killed millions of chickens. Like, the Biden admin, this has to do with the fact that they killed so many chickens for something that is transported by ducks more than chickens. Like, but okay, blame Trump.
Listen, it's we're a little off the DOGE's contagious at the state level, but the reality is that at the state level, if they start doing this, if they do, you're going to get the same reaction. You're going to get the same reaction out of the blue city mayors, right? Mayor of Chicago, probably not Mayor Adams.
Right.
Mayor Adams is, he's doing pretty good holding himself, it's very squarely in the middle. I think he's doing a pretty good job, but you're going to get it out of the mayor of LA and Detroit and Minneapolis and places like that. And you're going to get it. The blue governors are going to be the same way. Pritzker and Hochul and all the rest of these, they're going to fight tooth and nail against this kind of stuff from inside of their own state, because it's the same thing. They're trying to hide and protect the corruption that they're a part of. And that's what all of this is about. And people, conspiracy theorists and all that, they refuse to believe that there's an honest effort behind any of this. They think it's all corrupt. And the one I'm waiting for, everybody keeps talking about Fort Knox. I don't even think they're going to go to Fort Knox. I think that's all a ruse. They're never going to walk in there. I hope they do. I really do. I think it'd be great. But, the fact that Elon's going to go to Fort Knox and count gold bars. We're not even on the gold standard anymore. People like, just get a grip.
Yeah. Is that the one he was going to, what was the one he's talking about live streaming going in? Where is he talking about? That was the one. Okay. Yeah. He's going to live stream it.
Yeah, I saw people like make sure that they cut every bar open because there's this tungsten or something like that you can paint and it's the same weight as gold and you'd never know the difference. But you people you're off. You're way out there. But this is all a reaction to the pot stirring that's going on. I mean, the shake up that President Trump and Elon are doing to the federal government. And I know that we're going to do this as an add-on, but the next big shakeup is coming because Kosh is going to get confirmed tomorrow.
Yes, which will be today for you guys watching, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thursday?
Yes.
Thursday is the day. And,
they stalled it. They stalled it as much as they could.
Yep. And Mitch McConnell said today, so Kosh is out of committee. They did the the early vote, and McConnell said he's going to vote for him, and that's plenty. And he's going to get confirmed, and you can expect on Friday he's going to start breaking some stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
So excited. Like, I'm giddy. I'm so excited for all of this. The only thing that to me is a bummer, as a mild statement. The bummer is that I feel like the states, for example, and a lot of these federal workers now who have not yet experienced the audit experience there. I feel like they're just getting this extra time to hide things and destroy things. And you know what I mean? Like, this is what they've been doing up until this point, burning it, shredding it, moving it, doing all of the things. So to me, that's such a disappointment. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is, but it just sucks to know that that's what they're doing.
Yep.
So whatever we do catch them with, I'm part of this, whatever they do get caught with, it's not even all of it. You know what I mean? It's not even, I don't even know if it'll be half of it, but
Kash Patel, on literally the first 4 hours should be like, I want to see every dime that was spent on a paper shredder or shredding services in the last 4 months. I want to know and then I want to know the 3 years before that, because I can guarantee you it went like this and then it went like this, and that's all they've been doing is, getting rid of stuff, cleaning house, covering tracks, all of those things are being done. I can promise you, maybe not on a grand scale, but there's definitely some of it going on, and it's probably going on. It happened in the intelligence community, and then it's going to happen at the FBI as well, guaranteed.
Yeah. No matter what, all of the things that are coming to light, it is rocking the country. I don't care what side you're on. Everybody is rocked by it. And all of us who, in our hearts knew to a degree that this stuff was going on. I don't think anyone on the common people level, which I include myself in, had any idea of the scope of how truly bad it is.
Nope.
It's shocking. I think I saw something the other day. I don't remember what department it was, but in the list of crazy spending, it was like there was like $6,000 for a chair, and it's like, what? And if the chair wasn't $6,000, the chair was, maybe I'll go crazy and say the chair was $600. Where'd the rest of that money go? Well, we'll probably never know.
Yeah, it's the old military spent, $3,000 on a toilet seat kind of thing. And, really, there's an explanation for all of it. We just need to know what it is, and if it's, this very, very, if it's the toilet seat that goes on the stealth bomber that specific R&D to develop, and if they break it, it costs $3,000 to replace because it's got to be custom made. Oh, by the way, they've never broken one before. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff out there. The problem is there's no transparency and there's no explanation, and that's what we're getting out of all this, and that's all the rest of us can hope for.
I tell you, I think for a moment about the actual job, like the actual work of doing this, like being the people doing this, it is so huge. Like, how do you not get a little bit overwhelmed when you see how huge this is and how much you have to go through? I mean, I give, so many kudos to Elon and all of the people doing this that, were you the one that said that, like sleeping on the floor in the offices there and just working basically 24 hours and without taking a paycheck?
Yeah, they're super smart. They're a bunch of kids. This is probably the coolest thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
Honestly, most of them are going to have to be under some sort of protective custody for probably a significant portion of their life because of the things that they are going to know and the hatred that's going to come their way, which is horrible. It's not their fault. They're doing a job. But, what most of these kids are doing is they're running algorithms. They're not really looking at, they're just looking for the anomalies and then they hand it off. It's like they look at numbers. It's like, okay, well, this one sticks out and they hand it to somebody more important than them. And that person figures out what that is. Like, this is data analysis and they're doing a fantastic job and God love them for doing it. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my goodness. We have so many places we could go next. Let's talk about this one.
So do you remember, this was about a year ago, the police chief in London threatened American citizens that if they posted things that, they weren't safe, if they posted things and it was found to be on the social media in England, that the police from London were going to come after Americans. The response to that was hilarious. It's like, hey man, you said the same thing back in 1775 and we decided otherwise. So
yeah, he set himself up for that big time.
But
Right.
The reality is that in England, and now we're seeing in Germany, that people are in fact being arrested for social media posts. There's been raids in Germany on people's houses, right? Kick your door in kind of stuff because of things that are being posted on the internet, right? And listen, this is not somebody posting a swastika. This is this is lower level stuff, and all
like a meme or a joke or sharing a meme. Yeah,
they are literally raiding houses and arresting people. Like freedom of speech in Europe is dying, and it's dying very, very quickly. And it's something that we all need to be very, very conscious of.
Yeah. I tell you, it's scary. Like, how is history repeating itself in such a bold way? And I don't make those Hitler type comments. Yeah, I'm not a leftist. I don't make those Hitler comments lightly. And this is knocking on you. Where are your papers? Basically, you know, I mean, this is where they're headed. And, you know, I am, and I've said it before, I am the daughter and granddaughter of legal immigrants from Germany and Cuba. But obviously we're talking about Germany right now. To hear that, it's crazy. And I know my grandparents' stories. I know what my grandfather went through. I know what my grandmother went through. And to see this happening all over again, and people to be on that side, not on this side, to just say, oh, well, that's good. That's show them. You show them. Never mind the illegal migrants that have overrun your country and raised your crime to astronomical levels, and women getting raped and killed in the streets, and never mind all that, but make sure you go bang on that door of the guy that posted some stupid meme, you know, that means nothing. Crazy to me. It breaks my heart, actually. It makes me angry. Yeah,
it's things are, you know, perspectives are changing. I think, you know, there's a lot of European leadership that are looking across the ocean at us. And I want to say it was the president of Romania or maybe Hungary who was like, President Trump, do you see what he's doing over there? That's what we need to do. Like we need, this stuff's got to stop. And there, so, you know, you've got some pendulum swing. I think it's capping out. I hope it's capping out, you know, and it's going to swing its way back right. And we're going to get a little bit more common sense and a little bit more, you know, I guess common sense is the only way to really describe it. Like all this is, you know, like when you prioritize in any single asset, I don't care what it is. If you're a law enforcement organization and you prioritize anything over rape and or murder, but especially when you prioritize police officers to raid houses because of internet postings over solving rapes and murders, you are upside down and backwards. Like that is just
completely. It's just shocking. It's shocking what's going on over there. And, you know, I hope you're right. I hope the pendulum swings as hard and as fast as it did here. Yeah. You know, and I agree with you. I think they are watching, and that is going to be the only way. I mean, they essentially have to revolt basically and take back their country just as we did. So I hope I hope they have the same. It's so insane to me that it's gotten to this point when history is still readable, watchable, learnable.
Actually, in memory, like there are still people alive.
Yes, great point. Like that can tell you. Yes. Yeah. It's just wow. And we do have the video too of those people we'll put up there. But to watch those videos, and it's so literal of them banging on the door, you know. And then you have and I have this too.
Country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany.
Margaret Brennan continues to show she's an idiot. She continues to show that, you know, the mainstream media bends history to to what fits their narrative. But you know, it's that, and now you've got that in relation to what we're talking about, which is free speech is being taken away under the guise of protecting people. which is
and
not
her premise is free speech was weaponized and, should essentially be silenced. Like, I do even hear what you're saying, and kudos to Marco Rubio. Great response. I love his calm. He's really good. He's really good. I like him a lot for what he's doing.
Probably the best sex state since Condi Rice.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Capability. I think so. My opinion.
Unflappable.
Let's stick to Eastern Europe though, right?
Yes,
so we've got some peace talks happening in and around, Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Specifically, you've got a U.S. delegation talking to a Russian delegation, excluding the Ukrainians. And listen, before everybody gets worked up, because they're going to get worked up, all the people who support Ukraine. Let me do just a real quick history lesson for folks. The reason that this is happening is because the U.S. and NATO violated an agreement that they made with the Russians, right? The agreement was that there would never be NATO nations bordering Russia. That was agreed upon, right, during the Clinton administration. Now, what has happened since then? NATO has expanded, and they've expanded into countries that touch Russia. So we violated an agreement that we set up that the Russians agreed to. Hey, listen, as long as NATO doesn't touch our borders, everything's fine, right? And then we violated it. NATO violated it. We had countries like Romania and some others, and now they're touching Russia's borders. And oh, by the way, that's the singular biggest point of contention right now over all of this.
Yeah.
But there is, and Zelensky's been firing back because he knows his days are numbered. Oh, by the way, he suspended elections again in his democratic nation, to keep himself in power because he says, well, I keep things under martial law because if I don't, then people are going to leave and we're going to lose our army. Well, listen, man, suspend part of it. Make sure there's an election. Don't, we had elections. Listen, I was a part of elections in both Iraq and Afghanistan while a friggin' war was going on. It can be done. But, Zelensky's the one who likes to portray himself, and he had, 4 years of free press to do it with the previous administration. And now, President Trump and his team are bypassing all that, and they're talking to Putin. And listen, SecDef said it. Ukraine is not going to be part of NATO, right? It's not going to happen. They're probably not going to get their original borders back, right? And the U.S. is going to have to back away from Russia. It's just the way it's going to have to work.
Yeah.
But the new point today was the Russian bargaining chip is they want all U.S. troops out of every nation that has joined NATO since 1990. That's not NATO troops. That's U.S. troops, right? NATO can still be there. And I've said this from the beginning. This entire thing is a NATO problem. It's not a U.S. problem. So NATO can pony up. They can put as many troops in those countries as they feel they need to. But U.S. troops have got to be out of there. You know what? I'm all for it. Let them do it.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We spent 4 years supporting the Ukrainians and supporting this war, truthfully, because of a bunch of
funding it, basically, right? I mean, come on.
Because of a bunch of warmongers, war hawks. And President Trump's been in office for 4.5 weeks now, and we've already got peace talks going on.
Yeah.
Amazing.
New day dawning here. Definitely a new day. Did Trump just call him a dictator today? I feel like I just read that he called him a dictator.
Yeah, he did. Well, again,
I mean, clearly,
yeah,
you're denying your people the right to elections, free and fair elections. Dictator.
When you're the man in power and you get free elections to keep yourself in power, even if you say it's for the good of the country, like, that is every dictator's playbook.
Right.
Listen, I'm the guy. If it's not me, then this place is going to be anarchy. So I'm just for your own good.
Yeah,
I'm going to protect.
Yeah, it's right up there with this hurts me more than it hurts you.
Yeah.
Like I don't really want this, but I got to do it for you.
Yeah. Exactly right. But yeah, he did. He called him a dictator today. And listen, the argument could be made. I personally believe that he is. I think that Zelensky has done this, and he keeps this war going. Has wanted to keep this war going to keep himself in power. And that's all there is to it.
Wasn't this guy's original role an actor?
He's a comedian.
Yeah. I mean,
stand-up.
Like this is a stage for him. He's just got a bigger stage for his performance. That's all it is. He's he's got little man syndrome, all of the things.
Yeah, they need to aim DOGE at all the money that went to Ukraine. All of it. And by the way, we already know that like $100 million or 100 billion was a B, right?
Yeah.
Right? It was $107 billion, and they've lost track of 100 billion of it. Yeah. I'm
Like,
pretty
where
sure
is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's in Zelensky's Swiss bank account. That's where that's at. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Well, they may have a dictator, but we have presidents. And you know what else we have? President's Day. It's not going anywhere, suckers. Cry more.
Cry more. Yes.
I feel like this is going to have to be said every single week from now on, because, they're always crying about something. You want to cancel President's Day? Okay. Not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. Just shut up.
This is the lead. I think she's the lead historian at the Washington Library. Like,
really?
She's the one who said, listen, she's clearly a Democrat. We've had some, this is, what did she say? She likened this to celebrating the birthday of a king, or celebrating a king, or kings along the way, which we don't do here. And, oh, by the way, we've had some real duds as of late as a president. So it's kind of silly to have President's Day. You and I are of the age where we used to have Washington's birthday.
Yeah.
And Lincoln's birthday.
Yes.
Right. And then they were like, and then they added Martin Luther King. Right. So we had like a rapid fire of a bunch of school days off.
Yes.
Which was
awesome. It was great back in the day.
Right. And then they were like, okay, well, we can't have Washington and Lincoln both. So then they combined them and they had President's Day to celebrate both. And they just said, now we're celebrating all presidents. And now this lady wants to get rid of it because there's a president that she doesn't like.
Yeah. When. Yeah. So that's our response to that. And I think that's the collective response to that. But you're going to bring it back and, well, hopefully not 4 years, hopefully not 8 years, hopefully, not ever. But when it's a president you like, that's when you want to bring it back. Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise. Yeah. Just another great example of the crybaby stupidity, like the petty stupidness that they regularly throw out there. It's what else can you do but laugh? I mean, that one makes me laugh. I got another one that makes me laugh. We got time? Yeah, we're going to squeeze this one in real quick. So let me go on record, and people who follow my page already know this and will have already seen the little clip I'm going to show you in just a moment. So I apologize if you've seen it already. But I don't watch SNL. I haven't since the old days. We're going back many, many years. I catch whatever I catch from SNL. I catch like little clips of it on, whatever, TikTok or Reels or this or that. And there's, occasionally there's something funny. Definitely. I'll give them that. But it's few and far in between, man. And that's the consensus I heard about this one. You have a little more. You watched a little more before we get to Tom Hanks. You watched parts of it, you said? I've
watched half of the special, right? Yeah. I think it's without commercials, it's 2.5 hours, or maybe with commercials, 2.5 hours. I watched an hour and a half of it. Yeah. I would give it like a 2.5 out of 5 stars overall. But I did know about this skit going in. And I will tell you, this skit started out very funny. Eddie Murphy was on playing. Actually, he was playing. Oh God, he was playing another SNL comedian who was standing right next to him.
Oh,
so he
funny.
was imitating a guy standing next to him who was playing a character. Okay. And the skit was going well. And I was watching. I was like, it's Black Jeopardy. It was very, very funny, right? And then all of a sudden, Eddie Murphy was gone, and Tom Hanks is there, and he's in a MAGA hat, and he's this like old white guy with a beard, and and I guess I didn't know this. That's a reoccurring character on.
Is it? Okay. Oh yeah, I think somebody did say that, commented on the video. They're like, you do know that it's a recurring character and it's very funny, and you just took a few seconds of it. Well, I took the seconds that counted. So
yeah, they weren't funny. Like there was nothing. There's nothing funny about what he said, about what he did.
No, not at all. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to show you right now. Begging your pardon, guys. It's me in the video as well. It's me reacting to the video. It is what it is. Here you go.
Church, can I say something? If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
You know what? I agree with you, Doug. I'd like to shake your hand, sir. Here we go. No. Oh, no. It's just a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You're welcome to Black Jeopardy anytime.
Oh, well, all right. Well, thank you, my brother. Maybe I'll start a show for you to come on, and we'll call it White Jeopardy.
No. We don't need it. We don't need it.
Here's my reaction. Yeah, and that is really my reaction. Like, you know what? I don't have the time or energy to get angry about some idiot actor, on from Hollywood making fun of people. They've been making fun of Trump for years and years now. No big surprise. They have shown their disdain for us for years and years now. So I thank him. I thank all of them for being so blatant with it now. They're just not holding back at all. And I appreciate that, because when you know, that's it. So for anybody to get mad about it, like I'm not mad about it. I find it disgusting, obviously, not funny even remotely, but for anyone to be caring what they say and do at this point, you're wasting your time. There's so much more and better programming you can watch that, isn't going to insult your existence the way that they have. So screw them.
As long as it doesn't escalate, right? And this, and Bill Burr, I wrote a blog about this, right? Bill Burr has escalated it beyond comedy. He decided the other day in one of his rants, and if you're not familiar with Bill Burr, that's his style of comedy. He's angry at everybody he's bipartisan. Like, he hates everybody. He's angry at everybody all the time, although he is very much a liberal. He decided that all billionaires, these are his words, and I'll cut out the F-bombs because there was a lot of them, that all billionaires are the cause of all economic distress for families and people in this country, and that they should all be put down like rabid dogs. He's talking about killing people. This is not comedy, folks.
That's not comedy. That's pure rage. That's pure rage and hysteria.
There's nothing funny about it. We just had, Luigi Mangione killed, a pharma executive on the street in New York.
Yes.
Like, this is not out of the realm, people. And he's making jokes about it, or he thinks he is. And really, the thing that you also need to know about Bill Burr is, as much as he's, railing on billionaires, the guy's worth $20 million himself.
Yeah.
Right. So kill the billionaires, but the multimillionaires, they're cool.
They're okay. They're okay.
Like, don't be mad at me. I have a helicopter pilot's license that I don't have a helicopter business. I just have the license. But I'm cool. It's them that they're the problem. Like, again, so he's off the rails. It's not comedy, very much like this Tom Hanks thing. It's not comedy. Oh, by the way, when the Epstein list comes out, you may or may not see Tom Hanks again. That's a different discussion.
Yes, exactly.
But regardless, like, as stupid as that was, it is mostly harmless. The Bill Burr thing is not harmless. Like, that is that's basically a call to violence. Yep, and the already unhinged people out there. Yep. It just basically, it's like a dog whistle, right? Yep. For them, that like, oh, he said, this is what we're dealing with. And it's I can't believe that this is the world we live in, but it is. And these are the people that we're dealing with right now. But the pushback now on all of it is epic. It is just epic. And it brings me tremendous joy. We're back to the joy, guys. We're back to joy. Never mind these guys. Listen, they, like I said, they've told us for many years now what they think of us. And that should not have come as a surprise. Not worth getting angry about. Like you said, there's a list that's going to be coming out. And I think we'll be able to sit back with our popcorn and enjoy that. And probably not a lot of surprises. I don't think it's not for anybody who's been paying attention. I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises. There's going to be a lot of people who are surprised, shocked to the core. But many of us are just going to sit there and go, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Right? We did it. We got through all of our topics today. Yeah. Hey, us. Yay. All right. There'll be more next week.
I know. What are we going to talk about next week? I can't even imagine. There'll be plenty.
There'll be plenty. There always is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we thank you as always for joining us and hanging out with us and joining in on the conversation. As we like to remind you, Clay is always better about it. This time I remember to remind you that for us, we're recording on Wednesday. You are watching this on Thursday. And hopefully while you and I and we are watching this, we'll be celebrating Kasha's confirmation, right? That's the plan, the hope, the expectations. So looking forward to it and looking forward to chat with you guys. You know the drill, Clay.
We're always in the comments section. Usually I'm bouncing between Facebook and YouTube, right? I pop into X every now and again, but we're always out there. We're there every week. We love watching with you guys and we appreciate your support. And as always from me, keep moving, keep shooting.
Combat veteran Terry Davis left a life of violence for the quiet Midwest prairie, but a terror threat pulls him back into action. In Tampa, he makes allies and enemies as the danger unfolds. Relying on his combat-honed skills, Terry faces a threat far bigger than he imagined, unsure of who to trust. One thing is certain, to survive, he must keep moving, keep shooting.
Welcome to Chance, the series you'll fall in love with. Picture a small town so warm and inviting, you'll wish it were real. That's Chance, a place where laughter echoes through quiet streets, and every neighbor feels like family. Elsa Kurt's 6-book series captures the soul of small-town life. Follow the lives of 5 families as they weather life's highs and lows, love blossoming, friendships forming, hearts breaking, and healing in unexpected ways. These stories will wrap you in comfort, spark joy, and tug at your heartstrings. Each page feels like a heartfelt embrace. Discover Chance today. Find the series and all of Elsa Kurt's books on Amazon and elsakurt.com.